Okay, the next episode we have is The Big Goodbye, and this originally aired on January 9th, 1988, first episode to air in 1988, and it was written by Tracy Torme and directed by Joseph Scanlon. And with the plot for this particular episode, the Enterprise is traveling to meet the Gerada, and they're a reclusive insect-like race, and they are strategically important to the Federation, so it's very important for Picard to have pleasant relations with them. And the last attempt to communicate with them actually failed very miserably, because the Gerada require that you have a precise greeting in their own language, and any little slip-up is considered very rude, and that will break down negotiations. So Picard tries really hard to study their language and their dialect, and just to get that welcoming speech exactly right. And he does that so intently that Troy actually suggests that he take a break and take a little diversion, just to get it off his mind a little bit. So Picard agrees and decides to explore the holodeck, and he goes into a creation of it's actually a fictional character, but it's pretty similar to, if you've seen an old movie called The Maltese Falcon, those old Humphrey Bogart movies. He goes into a 1940s world around there, and it's a detective novel called the Dixon Hill novels, and it's back in San Francisco, and Picard is playing the private gumshoe, Dixon Hill. And he gets really excited about this, but then realizes that he does not have the correct costume on. He just goes in with his regular uniform, and so he exits and just tells the rest of the crew how much he's enjoying this and how fascinating it is. And just his enthusiasm actually inspires Data and Dr. Crusher to come along with him, along with another man named Wayland, who apparently studied a lot of the early 20th century and is really excited about this. He's a historian. So Picard re-enters the holodeck with Data and Wayland, and Crusher enters later, and they explore this 1940s world. While this is going on, the Gerada actually take out a sensor probe, and that actually damages the holodeck, meaning that the Enterprise crew of Picard, Crusher, and Data and Wayland are trapped in the holodeck, although they're not aware of this. And it actually hinders the holodeck so much that even though normally this would be a safe world to enter in, the actual danger becomes real. So in one instance, the evil gangster Cyrus Redblock bursts in with two of his men and shoots Wayland. Now, at first they think this is just all part of the game, but then they realize that Wayland is actually bleeding, and they understand that something is going wrong with the holodeck. So the second half of the episode is really the Enterprise crew's attempt to rescue Picard, Crusher, and Data from the holodeck. And Wesley is actually sent down to help with this, and he tries really hard and eventually is able to get them out. Just in time, too, because the Gerada are waiting for Picard to greet them, and they're getting very impatient. So Picard eventually escapes, and he delivers his speech to the Gerada, and he does it perfectly. Now, the reaction to this episode was actually very positive. In fact, it won a Peabody Award for 1987. So this is actually considered one of the better episodes of the first season, and it is a lot of fun. You can even tell Picard's character really enjoying stepping into the holodeck in another world into the 1940s, and I can tell the cast and crew had a lot of fun with it too. The writer Tracy Torme said this was one episode where it just fell into place. He didn't have any difficulty writing the script, and it was a lot of fun. And it is fun to see this episode because the look of it is so much different than a regular episode, because we're in the world of San Francisco in the 1940s detective story, and not the future. So it is fun just for the visual and just the atmosphere and the nuances of it, and I had a lot of fun. It's really fun whenever Picard decides to do his Dixon Hill type stories, and we see that again in the second season. And you can tell why Data would be interested in this, because in a few episodes earlier he started being interested in Sherlock Holmes. So Data is already interested in mysteries and detective stories, and you see Data explore detective stories a little more in the second season as he delves more into the Sherlock Holmes character. But this is a great episode, and if you recall in Star Trek First Contact, Picard actually types in, when he is trying to escape the Borg, the Big Goodbye, which was the title of this episode, and also the story of this 1940s Dixon Hill episode. So that's kind of fun, and an ode to this particular show of the first season. So I had a lot of fun watching this show. Once again, I think it's one of the top episodes of the season. And thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned for the next episode.